Today I want to talk about calming ourselves in a state of crisis. Learning how to calm and regulate our nervous systems helps us to become more resilient and more will directed. Often, when we are thrown into a state of panic, into fight or flight, into anger, hostility, we become more brittle, we become more easy to manipulate. And that is a reason that people want us to be in those states. It's a reason why people are hurtful toward us. Even when it gets you angry, into a state of reactive anger, I should say, it shuts down our prefrontal cortex, which is our ability to plan and execute effectively, and also to be in integrity with ourselves. That's a reason why in martial arts training, one of the things that's taught are different forms of being in your body and softening your focus so that you are able to engage in conflict and be in some very scary situations, but keep your center, keep your focus, keep your connection, and thus have more of a possibility of being victorious, or at least getting out of the situation more or less intact. When we're angry, when we're frightened, we can lose that capacity. And I want to say a reactive anger because anger in of itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It's something that tells us when something's not okay and when we need to draw a boundary or we need to take care of ourselves. But we can get into too reactive of a state of anger and become more about getting out of the situation or making something stop or trying to control other people or hurting ourselves, and we lose our center, and then it is not as useful of a situation. So I want to invite you to take a breath and just kind of focus your awareness at your peripheral vision, kind of staying aware of what's in front of you, but really trying to focus softly on what's happening around you, noticing what's happening at your edges. And as you're breathing, notice what's happening in your body. Notice any places of tension. Even subtle tension, like tension in your lungs, in your chest, your shoulders, your neck, your jaw. And as you notice that tension, just take a breath into it. Imagine you can give air to that tension and kind of increase the tension a little bit, like bear down, flex, and just hold that tension for a moment with your breath. And then as you exhale, just let go. As you intentionally flex and release your muscles with your breath, your body will remember in a deeper way how to release the tension in those muscles. It won't necessarily happen the first breath, but each breath it should unbind a little bit more and more. It's kind of like you're slowly untying a knot. And the more practice you get with this, the more you can do this even without flexing and releasing. You can just kind of notice the place in your body and you can relax it with the breath, or you can consciously relax the tension. And by consciously relaxing the tension in this way, you are regulating your body system and thus regulating your nervous system. The muscles in your body, when they're tense and charged, are correlate to an activated nervous system. So sometimes when we are trying to calm ourselves down, we do it from like the top down, like telling ourselves or other people calm down, or arguing with the reasons why you should be upset. And often that doesn't really work very well. Often that just escalates the upset, particularly when it's coming from a place or a person who's not calm. If I'm calm in myself and I'm helping you to calm down, and I can stay calm with you, that really helps you to calm down. But if I am trying to get you to calm down because I'm upset and tense, then our nervous systems are going to keep escalating each other and it's not going to work very well. So, calming myself or others in a situation really begins internally. It begins with relaxing my body, opening up, softening the gaze. And then from that place, then I might be able to make decisions to help bring other people down, to bring some calmness into the situation. We can work ourselves up very easily, often because we are creating stories in our minds that are very scary and overwhelming. And those stories might be valid, not saying they're not true, But sometimes, especially with the internet, you might notice how often these stories aren't actually happening to you in the moment. They're things you're reading about or things you're seeing people saying or sharing, and your body starts to react with anger or fear as though they're happening to you right now, or you're fearing the future in which that would happen. And that's really wasted energy. It really kind of makes us short sighted. It makes it difficult for us to live in integrity. And it really makes it difficult for us to assess and see and discern what's happening right now. What's happening in my community? What's happening in me? What's happening in this relationship? And what's the next step I need to take to move this forward? So, calming ourselves down doesn't mean going passive or checking out or just ignoring what's going on. In fact, it can really help us to take intentional steps forward, to even calm the resistance and the fear that's keeping us from paralyzed, that's keeping us from moving forward. So, I invite you to practice that really simple calming technique. And I invite you to share any observations, thoughts, or questions if you'd like. Thank you.